Summoners were once people who could call upon the spirits of anything they wanted. Our story follows Ajin, a high school student who doesn't care about school or relationships. But later on, he will become the strongest summoner after awakening his true power. He doesn't have any dreams for his future. His parents disappeared when he was only 5, and since then, he's been living alone on his own. His one good quality is that he can always take care of himself, and he is especially good at cooking. One day, while making his best bowl of ramen ever, a strange orb of light appears, and a woman comes out of it. Ajin is shocked and drops the bowl, but the woman catches it instantly. After eating the food, she explains that she hasn't had anything that nice in a long time. She reveals her name to be Dora, but he simply kicks her out of his house. He wonders if he is hallucinating as his attempt at getting rid of her proves useless. She explains that she is not a ghost, but a summoned spirit, and requires more food to restore her strength. She needs too much energy to transform herself back into a beautiful girl. That's why she is in her young version to save energy. While Ajin asks her 3 questions about herself, she tells him that people use food items to summon spirits in ancient times. So she came here because of his food. Then she insists on living with him. Ajin is being followed by a girl he can't see, but she is always with him. She offers him a contract in exchange for fulfilling all of her desires, but Ajin doesn't accept the offer and instead moves away. Later on, Ajin brings food for Dora and in return asks her to leave him alone. Dora gets emotional and tells him about the reality of the contract. If a summoner's spirit is abandoned by its master, it will be forced to wander the earth for hundreds of years. Dora is sad when she is refused, but she wants to spend one evening with him to explore his world. She explains to him that summoners are the people who can see this world beyond what other people can imagine. They can create and destroy this beautiful world at the same time. When Ajin gets emotional, Dora sees it as a chance. She tricks him into shaking hands with her and instantly grasps his hand to perform the ritual of changing him into a summoner. Now that Ajin is a summoner, he can never go back to the way things were before. Dora decides to present a gift to him and opens her wings while sitting at his back. He flies high into the sky with her watching over him, but then she gets tired and they start to fall down. They get hurt and help themselves with bandages. While they're healing, the power in the house turns off, and Dora teaches Ajin some of his new powers. She teaches him how to use the light from fireflies to help heal them. Dora then tells her story, which includes a huge crystal that broke and woke up a monster. This monster tied her up, but she tried hard to get away but couldn't. Just by remembering her traumatic past, she gets stressed and falls asleep without saying anything else. The next day, Ajin is sitting on a bench with Dora when a monster plant comes nearby. It engulfs her and spits her clothes out on Ajin. She starts screaming for help. The plant runs away and her powers weaken. She tells Ajin that her powers are strongest when she is near her summoner. Ajin gets angry because she never told him this before. He runs behind the plant to save her, but it disappears after a while. He starts to feel Dora's energy fading away, and she will faint soon. Ajin calls out for Dora, and she replies to him as they regain their connection for being close, but she is weak. Ajin then tricks her by saying he finally got rid of her. This makes Dora very mad, so she starts kicking the plant from the inside until she expels it from her mouth on her own. She hits the plant badly and it runs away to its master, Hana. Dora wants to initiate a fight, but Ajin calms her down and retreat as he knows the plant master is stronger than him. Hana is in the principal's office of Ajin's school and tells the principal, her grandfather, that she wants to see the real powers of Ajin and his spirit. She quickly moves to Ajin and invites him for a meeting in the woods on the way home after school. She is waiting for him in between a patch of black roses. Without saying a word, she attacks him with a sharp-nailed black rose. Then she summons a monstrous plant and asks Ajin to hand over the spirit to her, or they would be killed, but he refuses. The girl attacks them with huge strings of plants. Dora is finding her treasure weapon, which is a super sharp antique cleaver. She gets entangled, and a giant monstrous tree attacks her. Ajin saves her, and they are fighting with their super powerful weapons. Consequently, Ajin wins the battle and cuts the monstrous tree using his kitchen skills. The girl moves near and touches the tree, making and disappear. Ajin stops Dora from attacking Hana and asks her to stop. Dora then looks around and notices 4 tall trees, proving that Hana wasn't taking the fight seriously. Dora invites Hana and her spirit to have dinner at Ajin's house. The summon plant is angry and rejects the invitation, but Hana decides to accept it. There, she tells them she is a city guardian. That's why she was testing Ajin in his summoned spirit to see if they were strong enough to recruit them. We then see a girl having a nightmare on a rooftop where she sees her brother disappear from a place filled with flames. She shouts for him to come back, but she then wakes up. Ajin is in school where an attack by several animals takes place. Giraffes, pandas, and ostriches are chasing the students. The whole city enters an emergency state, and we find the same girl from before. She's happily walking around while the animals follow her. Ajin mistakenly tries to save the girl from the monsters, but she gets mad and walks away from him to pet the animals. Hana watches everything from a rooftop and jumps down to deal with the girl, revealing she's the culprit for releasing the animals into the city. The two engage in a fight, and Hana quickly uses her plans to restrain the animals. They start their discussion with the girl revealing she wants to free all the animals from their cages and put humans in cages instead. Their confrontation starts again, and Hana uses her skills to deal with the girl, quickly overpowering her. The girl then transforms herself into a huge bear, and Hana summons a huge tree to deal with it. After a strength contest, the tree also starts to overpower the bear, punching and squeezing it into several pieces. Those pieces quickly transform into a pack of wolves. They start to quickly overtake the tree, but Hana manages to find a move to win the fight. Those several pieces transform themselves into a huge snake and starts overtaking the tree. Noticing both sides' injuries, Ajin quickly jumps to the middle of the fight and restrains both sides with some soul chains. The two agree to stop fighting, and the girl quickly heads back to her summoner body, revealing it to be a nearby cat. Ajin calls the cat Meow, revealing that he already knew the cat before. He quickly starts to bandage Meow's wounds, and the cat passes out, while remembering the first time they met. Ajin met the cat days before summoning Dora and treated its injuries. Despite hating humans, Meow fell fond of him and ended up catching feelings. Hana leaves her home after threatening Ajin about the cat. He brings the cat to his home, and they all eat and sleep there together. Ajin also consoles the cat about her missing brother. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door outside, and they open it to find Hana's bodyguards inviting them to her house. Upon reaching their house, they notice it's a place filled summoners. They enter the main hall, and Ajin notices a huge statue. Hana's summoned spirit mentions that it's a goddess, and the first leader of the Watchers. Suddenly, Ajin starts to hear the statue calling for his name. He takes another look at it and gets into a trance state. He finds himself in a green field and sees the same blonde woman represented in the statue near a tree. She keeps calling out for his name, but before he can approach her, he gets back to reality. He's then taken to Hana's grandfather and his school principal, the Black Rose family leader. He says that everything has a spirit which comes from a giant crystal of a monster. Some spirits are watchers who protect the world, while others are destroyers who want to conquer it for their own desires. He asks in which side will Ajin stand, but the latter reveals he doesn't want to join either group because his mom told him not to get involved in fights. The old man then starts talking about Ajin's past, referring he was abandoned by his parents when he was only 5. He also knows he has a picture of his family in his wallet, and reveals that despite his carefree attitude, he still feels empty inside. Ajin gets startled when he hears those words, but the old man continues. He explains meeting Dora and not knowing about his parents' identities isn't a coincidence. Ajin is shocked even more after Dora steals his wallet and sees the picture, showing his family picture where his mother resembles the woman represented in the statue. Suddenly, the destroyers appear and attack the place. The grandfather tries to hold them off while telling everyone to escape. Meow's brother appears, but he's different than expected. He's actually the leader of all the destroyers. He even tries to kill his own sister. Ajin couldn't hold his feelings anymore and tried to kill her brother, but is stopped by another destroyer, who puts him in a trance-like state. In this trance, he's sent back to Plainfield, where he's back to his 5-year-old self. His mother appears from behind and embraces him. Feeling the warmth of her mother, Ajin starts to tear down. He has missed her for the past 11 years. She's finally back, but the space around them tears down. It turns dark, difficult to breathe, and his mother's warm embrace turns into a cold, lifeless one. He looks back at his mother, but all he sees is a monster. Back to reality, Hannah's neck gets sliced away by an assassin, and the old man uses his power to heal her. He manages to save her in time, but the destroyers take advantage of the opportunity to shoot him in the head. Another destroyer appears and takes the old man's soul. The group then leaves the place, sparing everyone else because they think they will be useful. The group recovers after a few days, and Agent decides to meet Stan to get information about the destroyers. At Stan's laboratory, he starts tracking every possible information and finds out their previous movements. They head to Hannah's house, and Stan hacks into a camera and starts reproducing the recorded information. Through the recording, they find out there are 7 people in the Destroyers gang who attacked the place. He further investigates and checks the attack goal lies inside a hole. They jump into it and scout the whole place. They discover that the Destroyers swept away all the thousands of sealed spirits that Hannah's family had been sealing for ages. They also find the pebble different from all other. It contains a unique scent from a garden 300 kilometers away from the city, where a destroyer was detected. They all decide to go there, although their chance of winning is less than 10%. On the way, they all chat about their past, and Agent explains his story. Dora tries to recall her memories, but she can't remember anything. Stan's scans reveal that Dora's heart was sealed long ago, with chains, which is why she cannot remember anything. Upon reaching the place, they find a farmer who transforms into the destroyer and starts to fight them. The destroyer is substantially strong enough to put all of them to die instantly. Normal weapons of Dora are useless for him, and they are easily turned down. Meow moves ahead, but nothing works. Stan tries to handle the situation using her technology, but in vain. She could buy only 2 or 3 minutes for them. Nothing works for this monster. Stan tracks out all information regarding him. He suffers from some mental illness and holds a split personality. He killed all people of the nearby town long ago and is an internationally wanted criminal. The destroyer gets furious and attacks them with several powerful techniques, but they survive all of them. He turns the ground into large stones and attacks them, but Agent saves the group with a shield. This destruction reveals numerous skeletons of men, women, and children under the earth. Agent starts feeling a unique surge of energy in his mind. Dora starts sharing her memories with him, allowing him to absorb every characteristic and technique of every weapon. His arms and legs get covered by some armor while he summons a silver lance. With that new equipment, he starts slashing the destroyer in several places with different weapons until he manages to put a dagger throughout the destroyer's core. He then summons Thor's hammer and finishes the destroyer, who reverts back to his human form. Suddenly, the farmer turns into a huge rock giant who attacks everyone. They try to combine their attacks, but it proves to do nothing. As they all start to get knocked down one by one, Agent summons Thor's hammer once again to attack, but gets easily blocked. He then floats into the air and uses the silver lance to pierce the rock giant's head, but it still doesn't end the rock. Dora combines her powers with him, and they summon a huge sword to slash the giant in 2, but it blocks and destroys the sword. The giant punches Ajin away, knocking him out. While unconscious, Ajin finds himself in a strange place where he sees a chain crystal. Outside, Dora tries her best to use shields to protect him from being smashed by the giant, but starts to get overpowered and pushed back. Filled with injuries all over her body, she stands in front of him to protect him with her life, but both get punched away. Meanwhile, Agent touches the crystal and starts to regain his conscious back. He opens his eyes just to find Dora transforming into her original goddess form, revealing that the crystal is sealing her memories and power. Dora in her original form, with long crimson hair, black eyes, huge demon horns, and wings made of different elements, starts using a skill that even affects the skies, summoning millions of swords to rain upon the giant rock. She then calls forth her finishing move. A huge sword of lightning falls from the sky, finishing the rock giant off. The group manages to survive, and they try to go back home to heal their injuries. But suddenly, one of the destroyers appears from a black hole in front of their van and slashes it in 2. Another one appears and starts shooting them. In the end, Agent watches Meow, Stan, and Dora get shot in front of his eyes. Unable to move or resist, Ajin is thrown into the air and slashed away. He manages to open his eyes in a strange place. It seems like space, but with shards of space floating around. A rogue man then appears, revealing and showing that he and his friends are already dead. Ajin cannot believe. He starts punching the reflection glass upon seeing their deaths. Why is he so weak? Why couldn't he protect them? He destroys the glass and falls onto the floor, blaming himself, tearing his heart out. Why isn't he strong enough to protect his loved ones? The man that asks what would he do if he could go back 3 minutes into the past. Ajin raises his head with shaking eyes, an opportunity to save everyone he thinks. He looks back to the man who reveals his identity. Ajin's eyes cannot believe it. He cannot move. It's his father, who gives him 3 minutes to save his loved ones and tells Ajin to meet him at the demon's furnace. Ajin then wakes up inside the van 3 minutes into the past. He reveals the future to everyone. The destroyers soon attack and slice the van in half, but this time it's empty. There's only an explosive waiting for them. Ajin's group swap cars in time and get home where everyone rests and prepares to accompany him to the demon's furnace. That's all for today. If you enjoyed watching the video, consider liking and subscribing for more like it. Thanks for watching.